Good afternoon, Matt.
Oh, good afternoon, Will.
Good afternoon to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Afternoon, the only breakfast talk show. We talk about this week's gaming and tech news in the afternoon because summer Fridays, baby. That's not the right one. That's not the right one.
There we go.
Right, that was too loud.
Great.
Everything's working out. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing well. So I feel like we do owe everyone a bit of an explanation because we did this this is very spur of the moment. So what had happened was we launched a Kickstarter on Tuesday.
Yes.
And there was a problem, which is that over the weekend I got super sick and I straight up, more or less completely, lost my voice. And we had to make the call Sunday night about whether I was going to be able to host our planned Kickstarter launch stream on Tuesday, or whether we were going to try and do breakfast with me sounding like your great Aunt Ethel, what smoked 47 packs of Marlboros a day through So we decided not to do that, and we thought we could do this instead to make it up for you. So if you're wondering why there wasn't a breakfast on Monday, it's my fault. I got the sick and had the no voice. But the Kickstarter launch went well. Speaking of, by the way.
Which is great. It's doing great. It's at 31, 32?
33 as of this morning. I have it up right now, 33 and a half.
Well, if you'd like a history calendar, whatever the command is for that. Somewhere.
! Kickstarter over in Twitch chat, and I'm sure the mods can post it over on YouTube.
But we talked about that all Tuesday. That's where Will's voice went. This is a Summer Friday edition of Games for Breakfast, and as you may know, Janet and Brad and Rocky over on Nebula, breakfast is the state of mind in which we are all in when discussing the week's gaming and tech news. And,
that's right.
I'll say even media news in general. Yeah. So that's why it is entirely still breakfast time, even though we mentioned that it was in the afternoon.
That's right. Yeah. We have for you this special Summer Friday edition. Although, Matt.
Yes.
I feel like this isn't summary enough.
You are right. It should be more summary.
So
let's actually do a summary of how summary it should be.
Okay. I can't tell you, but I think I can show you.
Okay, cool.
I think it should be this summary. Little more. Maybe it should be.
It's too hot. It's too hot. Hold on. I gotta get this.
Yeah, all right. Great. Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. We're good. It's a little bit bright too, so we just sort of have to.
The suns are out. The guns are out. We got my.
All right, we're ready.
I'm allergic to the sun. All right. Cool. Great. All right. Awesome.
I'm gonna have a Friday caffeinated beverage.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
A legally distinct, non-advertised caffeinated beverage, which I will pour lower.
One day, I hope that we get sponsored by a beverage, so that's actually a problem.
Martinelli's sparkling cider. I don't have any on hand because I've already been too busy enjoying it.
Right. This is a great question. I am. It's just ultraviolet fire that you can't see.
Anybody without 9 million sunblocks is going to really have a bad day. Get it?
Yeah, that's right. 100%. All right. So, excellent. We are now ready to begin this story. Now, so I'm gonna give you all a brief disclaimer. We are not covering all of this week's news. We are covering a lot of news, some of which got updated this week, but some news we're saving for next week because we are probably still going to do a show then. So some things aren't going to get covered, like the the Hasbro earnings report. That had a whole bunch of interesting info in it. The Iron Mouse v. Shoujo thing, that's all next week. So what we're really focusing on this week is last week's news and the early part of this week that I grabbed. So we sort of have like an invisible floating deadline between this one and the next one. So if you're like, why aren't they talking about X? X is probably next week.
Also, it's a dead platform. But
hey yo!
Oh, it's summer! It's Summer Friday. The takes are hot. That's not a that take is cold enough to drive. Anyway. Listen, it's gonna get weird today, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah. So if you're still here, thank you. On the Monday show or whatever, it's gonna be back to old stuffy Will and Matt and their breakfast.
Stuffy is the word I'd use to describe breakfast.
We're so stuffy. Neither of our eyes are reflective. We haven't ripped sleeves off of Borg shirts or put on Final Fantasy bucket hats. We've gotten so predictable.
That's right. 100%. Yeah, us predictable. Yep. Okay. Matt. So the reason that we're not starting this morning is not directly your fault, but the fault of a cinematic debut, which you wanted to speak on.
I have a fantastic excuse for why we had to start brunch time.
Yeah.
And that is basically, I just got back from seeing the Fantastic Four First Steps. I will not be spoiling a thing other than my opinion of it. It's really fun in a way that a Marvel movie hasn't been in a while. I liked Thunderbolts a lot. That was a different kind of fun. This mixes fun with ridiculous stuff in a world that still feels real and threatening. That's kind of what I want to get across, because I had a real, like, even the trailers and seeing images of, this is spoilers if it's in the trailer. This is no spoiler. Galactus is in this movie. And anytime Galactus is in a live action setting, I get a little bit nervous. There's only been one other time, I think, but even this time I was like, this looks weird. It doesn't. It's hokey, but also there's moments where you are legitimately terrified of him. And that's what Galactus should be.
Yeah, Galactus is a thing that you should be afraid of.
The balancing act that this movie pulls off, I think, is great. There's minor issues here and there. It's boring to talk about them. I think this movie is a real return to emotional form for Marvel, and I hope that whatever is coming next is not so bloated that it can't continue the first steps that this put out. So that my review is, you should probably go see it if you like Marvel movies. That's basically it. But I was so excited to report that, because you go into these things and you're like, man, I want this to be good, but then what if it's the new Master of the Universe with Jared Leto? You don't know. And right. I don't know technically, because that movie's not out yet. I just, if precedent is anything to believe.
By the way, we are getting some appreciation from Mikhail and from some others who are saying that this is a games for breakfast. They don't have to destroy their sleep cycle to witness. So
Summer Friday.
It's a treat. It's a treat for you. It's like Christmas in July.
That's right. In fact,
actually, it is in fact Christmas in July.
Yeah,
we could have done a whole Christmas in July theme, but.
I mean, I don't know where my
we didn't want to overdo it.
I will say, Will and I can write you all doctor's notes for Summer Fridays.
That's
now,
right.
Whether or not your employer realizes the validity of them, please note I didn't say validates them, unless they realize the validity of them.
Right, yeah.
That's up to them, and that's between them and whatever
I
God
feel
they
like
pray
the paw print on all of the prescription slips may not be helping our case.
Yeah, that's true. Also, wait, hold on. Boop, 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 boop. Tim, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Hopefully this is a fun jump start to your Summer Friday birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool, great. Next up, let's talk.
Wait, hold on. Bull, you cad.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. All right. Next up, Tennocon happened. I know a bunch of people were super excited about this.
Yes.
Tennocon is sort of I will say an aberration of the best kind. So, it is digital extremes being cool enough and valuing their community enough to do an entire day of convention for one developer.
Yeah.
That isn't Blizzard. Tennocon is kind of a weird thing, but it's really cool to see every time. So this time, importantly, a couple of things that folks should know. The most important of them is, I'm not kidding, they're going to do some amount of tutorialization for the mod system.
Probably good. Actually, let's just do a show of hands and Brad and Janet real quick. Who watching right now live on either platform is a Warframe player and or veteran and or maybe just started? I just want to see, show of hands, how many people have dabbled in the 10-year history? 14? What is? I can't read that. It's too small.
I believe that's 10 years.
Yeah.
I believe 2015 sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm just curious how many people
now and then. Yeah.
Played it but burned out. Hands up. Hands up. So a few people, right?
Yeah.
I used to play it a ton, and I have since fallen off, not because I didn't like what they were doing, just because lifestyle games and me tend to not really mix anymore, sadly, and that's on me. That's not on the game. I was super interested in playing, was it 99 or 97? Warframe 9, is it 99? And the new, the stuff that at least, I saw them at PAX East, they did a keynote. There we go, Daff. There we go.
That's a number of hours.
Yeah. And the stuff that they were talking about there kind of got me excited again to check it out. And I can never keep up, you know? But so an onboarding for people, especially for the mod system, is a really smart move.
Yep. They've also got more, you know, we're going to a different star system. There's a bunch of story stuff. And a thing that a lot of people are also looking forward to is the fantasy spin-off Soulframe. There was an update on that. They are saying that their original projections were a little ambitious, and it probably won't be ready for like a proper beta till after 2025, which is
that makes sense.
Good.
Yeah.
Wait, right? We've talked about this. The good things come to those who are patient. It'll be fine.
And Digital Extremes is really, really, really great at delivering. And taking their time and delivering things that people really like.
Yep.
And I'm excited that they're taking the time that they need, and they have the financial stability to do so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the biggest story, the one that I thought was the funniest, is that so you know how a new console came out recently, and everyone's been like hype over all the Switch 2 stuff and like doing things with the thing. So the reason that there's no Warframe update for the Switch 2 is that Digital Extremes still hasn't gotten a dev kit from Nintendo for the Switch 2, which, hey Nintendo, I know you're watching this.
Yeah, Nintendo, you're a big fan.
Do you not like money? Do you not like people playing games and using your system?
Like the question is, like, I believe there's a shortage of dev kits, right? And I could even see that maybe in the months leading up.
Right.
This feels like, I mean, Digital Extremes isn't, I mean, they're smaller, but they're not small. They run conventions, for Pete's sake.
Warframe remains a relevant game consistently.
Yeah, it's very strange. Maybe they think it costs them the price of a dev kit. Like, it feels like an oversight, but I imagine that DE has reached out to Nintendo. But maybe slight public shaming at their yearly convention at their 10-year anniversary might move it in a direction. Who knows?
Yeah. So that's all in Tennocon. All good stuff. More things, more, story, more things that we expect from Digital Extremes. All good stuff. All right. Now into less good, more weird news.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, so this is Francesco Salasini, aka Once Were Nerd. He's an Italian YouTuber. And he's covered a bunch of products in the retro gaming space. Some retro gaming style handhelds and a bunch of other stuff, some of which came pre-supplied with ROMs for games. That's not uncommon, right? But he was reviewing them as they were delivered to him, that kind of thing. And he got all of his stuff stolen and his channel, or not stolen, seized. Seized is the other word I want to use. And his channel frozen and access to his socials restricted by the Italian police for copyright, not claims, but crimes, allegations of copyright crime.
Right. And this story comes to us from Kotaku. There actually has been an update since they published it too. But basically, I think that from what I understand from this story is, reviewing all of these handhelds, sometimes those handhelds come with pre-baked ROMs that are not legal to buy or sell, basically.
Correct.
And he was reviewing copies of those systems, meaning he bought them. And that's sort of half of the argument, I believe.
Yep.
Now the other half of the argument is based on the update from Kotaku. They share let's see. A new report from Android Authority claims that once the channel is Once Were Nerd creator shared links on how to find free retro games online and linked to a blog post on his website titled Where to Find ROMs. Also, where people, let's see, there was and then this is kind of a little bit weaker, I think. There's also reports that he used to sell classic gaming, like some of the things he reviewed to people, which then did have those things on it, which would then mix it in.
Right, but either way, this feels like the lack of clarity is a huge problem here, right?
Well,
and like,
we're not getting the clarity. Who knows if the clarity is there? It's more of the, yeah.
And there is the language barrier, right? Like we should be clear that there is a language barrier. So part of the problem is as well that Italian copyright law works differently.
Yes.
This may not have been on behalf of any company. This may have actually been the Italian police investigating this on their own because there's an Italian YouTuber who did a thing. Unlike American copyright law, where pretty much a corporation has to complain. Otherwise, the cops aren't going to do anything. The federal agencies won't do anything, right? In the States, if a copyright seizure happens, it's usually based on experience because a corporation filed a complaint. And that doesn't appear, at least at first blush, to be the case here.
And according to his video, and you can check it out on his channel if you're interested, law enforcement in Italy is apparently not required to disclose what he's being charged with or who specifically brought the charges until an initial investigation happened, and then the judge would decide to either dismiss it or take the case to trial, at which time he would be informed.
Yeah. But in the meantime, all of his stuff's gotten yoinked. So that sucks a lot.
Yeah. So I really did appreciate Kotaku bringing this up and sort of like putting it out there, because this is something that there's a salaciousness to it, of course, but also like this is a good reminder that like not everything works the same as where like Will and I are, right? Like things do function differently, even though we all do engage with a lot of the same media. And I hope this gets taken care of quickly. I hope that nothing he did was actually like truly prosecutable, and it all kind of goes back, just because this isn't, at least from what I've gathered, and again with the language barrier, etc. This is not like, I can see a raid on someone who is like hosting like servers worth of illegal ROMs to shut that down. Like the ethics of preservation, etc. notwithstanding, the fact of the matter is people own copyright to things. So if there is a big thing that is, whether it's hurting the company or not, I could see the legality of doing that. Right. This doesn't feel like that. And again, we don't know entirely, but this more feels like, if I had to put a finger on it, again, my uneducated guess, a bit of zealousy going this hard on him. Maybe there's something else, I don't know. Or maybe the Italian government just takes that very, very... Do we have anyone in Italy watching right now? It's entirely possible. Yeah,
that there's a pretty clear-cut case, but it does feel... The other big problem, right? And this is sort of a... This is one of the things that worries me about this, right? Is that the internet goes everywhere. Radical concept, I know, as people from around the country and even we know from around the world watch us, which is still weird to me, right?
Sure.
So, the idea that content that you post, like if it comes out that the content that he posted on YouTube was illegal in a country, then my worry is that content that other people post is illegal in some country and they don't know it, and then they travel to that country and now there's a problem, right? The fact that that there is a possibility, and we don't know for sure yet, and I'm like withholding full judgment until we know more, right? But the possibility that the YouTube channel itself is at the heart of this law prosecution, right?
or investigation at this point. I don't actually know. Yeah, because it hasn't, at least as far as the update on the 23rd goes, there has not been that yet.
Yeah, so there's some amount of concern about how far this is going to go. Because again, there's two different things, right? One, should copyright exist? And that's like a whole big complicated issue. Should copyright exist in the form that it does? I'm going to say probably not. It definitely needs an overhaul where digital media is concerned. And then the last part is, how does the law actually interact with copyright in a practical manner, which is like this whole other can of worms that feels like really where this is headed. So yeah. Okay,
we'll keep a weathered eye on this ROMmed horizon.
Yeah. Okay, next up.
Snackin' is never late. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
That is correct. So we said we'd talk about it more when more info came out, and more info has come out. The content of the Crafton Unknown Worlds lawsuit has been disclosed. The core of the argument remains the same. The founders of Unknown Worlds assert that Crafton are interfering and did interfere in the timely launch of Subnautica 2 early access in an attempt to keep from paying Unknown Worlds a $250 million earnout that was earmarked for them should they meet revenue targets in 2025 as part of the original purchase agreement that was made between Crafton and Unknown Worlds. Crafton alleges that the Unknown Worlds founders absconded with money and time and were in no hurry to release Subnautica 2, and that Subnautica 2 was in a subpar state and not fit for early access. That part hasn't changed. What has changed is that the founders have come forward with more significant at least so far, anecdotal examples of the ways in which they allege that Crafton has interfered with the process, that they were being hamstrung by a lack of support from Crafton, and Crafton continues to hold firm on their position, which is that the game was not ready, and then they continue to mudsling directly at the founders, saying, quote, while we are disappointed that Charlie, Max, and Ted have filed a lawsuit seeking a huge payout, we look forward to defending ourselves in court. In the meantime, Crafton remains focused on what matters, delivering the best possible game as quickly as possible to Subnautica fans.
So there's something that's been consistent in Crafton's messaging, and that is the company might doth protest too much. Actually, Darter kind of hits on it. It's okay. So yeah, let's back up to Darter's point, and then I'm going to go to where I was going.
Yeah.
So, do you think in the year 2025, most companies did my Discord just ping across the thing? I can't tell. Okay, great. Most companies don't really care if the game is finished so long as it sells well enough, and then it either can get finished or people won't get mad enough where it matters. That's kind of the vibe we've gotten with pre-sales and betas and a couple other things. Like it doesn't really feel like overall all the companies are just dying to get it perfect before they release. They set a release date, which is a very real thing that they need to do to hit their numbers and to stay in business and all of that stuff. But it doesn't feel like that number is often picked to give the game the optimum amount of time to cook, right? So yeah, when the company is clutching about that, let's even take a really good faith look. Like let's pretend I'm not suspicious of them and they haven't earned a bunch of sus points at this point. If they truly felt like it wasn't ready, I still do, and that was the only reason. it doesn't feel like there'd be this level of like mudslinging as to why.
Yep.
And that loops me into sort of my second point about this, which is there's constant attack at the three original owners of, or the creators of Subnautica. And they use, Crafton uses the word fans like I use the word like or just like a consistent barrage of like using that word as a placeholder word as they're trying to think of something else to say.
Right.
And look, I don't doubt that they like their fans. I don't think that that's not true, but I don't know. Like the three people who brought the lawsuit forward, at least whether or not they're in the right or not, they did the smart and correct play of taking Will's patented course of shutting the hell up and then doing the thing they need to do, aka doing the lawsuit and then commenting, where it felt like Crafton really tried to get ahead of it with like a statement or two, plus those leaked like charts to show like what was ready and what wasn't, which sure, those were pictures of computer screens with stuff on them, but out of context, both sides could use it, so not the strongest methodology there. Yeah. I'm not saying that they leaked those. I'm saying if that was a tactic, it was a bad one. I'm leaning now more on the side of the OG creators based on precedent and a couple things. Look, I could be very wrong. Maybe Crafton is really on the straight and narrow, and their PR is just terrible.
Yeah.
That's a possibility too.
I think that there is, there was a comment. Jeff and I did a whole design club on this last week because I wanted Jeff's take on this whole thing from someone who's acted as a publisher. And
yeah, what do you have to say? What's the Cliff Notes version?
His version is he thinks, and I'm inclined to agree with this, that the truth is somewhere in the middle. That it's entirely reasonable based on the undisputed evidence from the May 2025 I don't think anyone's disputed that the information in the May 2025 screenshots, right, of the status of the project is fake. Neither the founders nor Crafton. In fact, Crafton has said it's a legitimate slide, and the founders haven't said this was an inaccurate representation of the work. That the truth is somewhere in between. That there were specific milestones that the founders failed to meet, and that that Crafton is holding them in potentially to a higher standard than it feels fair or reasonable to hold them to, given the failures.
But if they missed milestones, there's two kinds of milestones they could have missed, right? There's contractual ones and then there's implied ones. And if it was a contractual one, then that's a reason to not get their bonus, and then we wouldn't be having this thing. They wouldn't have bothered with the firing. They wouldn't have bothered with anything because there'd be something in writing saying, well, you didn't do this in this amount of time, and therefore that's out. Like, so I
kind of feel like that's what that is what those slides say. Those slides say these are the milestones that you failed to meet.
We don't know if those milestones are contractually baked into their original deal to get that bonus.
That I got.
We have screenshots of a thing that anyone could have made, and let's say they're all real. If those milestones and that thing before a release date is not baked into their contract, it does not matter. That means, like, it kind of feels like, if I can take a step back and really do some wild speculation in this beautiful sunshine we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
It feels like the deal to buy the Subnautica team and publisher and creators was very rushed, and they just wanted it, so they're like, yeah, 250 million, we'll get, like, sure, yeah, you're gonna do it and whatever.
That is
and
the other. Yeah.
And then I think they realized that even on the best case scenario, that is not going to net them a lot at all, might even put their company in the red. I think they made a bad deal that was much more beneficial to the three creators than anything else. And now they're trying to walk it back.
Yep.
That's what I think.
That is the other thing that Jeff really wanted to observe, and I completely agree with this, is that regardless of who is in the right or who is in the wrong, Unknown Worlds did not have a good mergers and acquisitions lawyer available when they negotiated this.
Yeah.
And that is a huge, like, regardless of how this turns out, regardless of who, of the they said, publisher, developer, all of that, regardless of every shred of that, the take-home lesson for people is mergers and acquisition lawyers are worth the weight in gold. You should have a really, really good one if you're going to do something like this. That is a huge, big, bolded, underscored part of this is the mergers and acquisitions thing. Like, there should have been an ironclad bit that says, you can't fire us before Subnautica 2 comes out if you're going to tie our bonuses to this. And that is part of the founders' claim, is that they were promised. It is noted that they were promised. It's not a contractual clause in the way that the founders have stated it, which is either they're attempting to curry favor or it wasn't in the contract and they were given a verbal, and that is not really the best move on their part, but they were promised that certain things would happen, that those were not followed through. But I'm not getting the sense that those were contractual obligations that Krafton had. So, yeah, definitely bottom line, get a better mergers and acquisitions lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the big stuff. We probably won't hear much more on this until it
goes through whatever
it goes into
needs to go
discovery
through.
And stuff starts hitting and all that.
Whenever one side of a group is like, well, they're in the wrong. We love all of you reading this. And by the way, they're probably just trying to get a bag for themselves and not really take care of anyone. And I'm like, I read it in that this tone like this, because it just if you were in the right, you wouldn't need to speak like that. You wouldn't need to put out messages like that.
Right. It is also possible that the PR team for Krafton
is just bad.
Just sucks.
It's
right.
Just bad.
It's very. We've seen our fair share of terrible PR.
Sure.
So,
Krafton could be entirely in the right, but whoever is writing these statements is making them feel incredibly sus. That is another option entirely.
Yep. Okay, next up in I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Employees at King are having the leopards that they
hold on. That is an unfair, I think, read.
All right.
Because the employees at King, Activision Blizzard King, were probably mandated to build the leopard that ate their face.
That's
I
true.
don't think they just did it out because they were interested. This isn't Jurassic Park. They're right.
That's fair.
These are people that needed to have were getting paid to do a job. Granted, that job eventually knocked them out of a job.
Correct. So
it's not cut and dry. I think,
so in this case, the King team has spent the past several months training AI tools to help make Candy Crush levels better.
To design and QA Candy Crush levels.
Correct. Specifically with the goal towards increasing monetization, because King is a mobile company and Candy Crush makes money by the truckload.
Yeah.
And so they designed and created these tools to help them make levels more efficiently and to increase monetization. And now that the tools are done, a vast swath of the team is being laid off because they don't need them anymore, because now they have the tools. And that's just kind of where King's at right now.
Yeah.
I don't actually.
I believe 200 were laid off.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious about this. Chat, by show of hands or hype, how many of you play Candy Crush? I don't think Candy Crush is in our target audience, right? There is a huge, vast audience of people that play Candy Crush, but it doesn't.
I think my father does.
Yeah. Sure.
It's not my father's Candy Crush.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't think I actually ever have. Now, again, that means nothing, but
I think I played it once. Not for very long.
What is Candy Crush?
Yeah.
Candy Crush is a piece of software designed to milk you not of dairy but of your finances.
Yeah, that's right.
If I could put it in the grossest way possible,
which is usually how it feels. Also,
yeah.
It is worth noting that many of these impacted developers are sort of stuck in limbo because they are part of a union, and the union negotiations are still ongoing and won't wrap up till September. So they don't have a job, but they do have a job, but they don't have anything to do, but they're in a union. So it's a mess. This is just a big mess. It's a big, bottom line, it's a huge mess. So
yeah, I don't really know where. Like, okay, we are getting further and further into a world where, like, yeah, there's the law, but like, whatever, man. Like,
all right, everybody, it's
like,
time.
It's like the
time
law's
to
having
learn
a summer Friday.
Yeah, it's time to learn a new word. Say it with me now. Zaibatsu.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Not quite, obviously, in this case, but like it's definitely trending towards.
It's not one family owning the mines that gets the candy that then packages them in the crushing that then puts them onto the ships that moves them onto the distributor. That
Matt, hold on, wait. There's a story between the story that you're trying to segue us to and now.
I'm not segueing yet.
Sure, but you're trying to, but you're inadvertently segueing us. We'll get there.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I'll back up the segue. Boop, boop,
I always feel like people backing up segues are just gonna fall over backwards.
Has anyone ever ridden a Segway backwards?
Does that work, chat? Do you have to turn the Segway around, or do you?
The hoverboards, the Segways with no handles?
Yeah.
Like, you can. I have done. I felt like I was gonna fall on my tailbone. You can do a little shift, and it will like slide you back.
That's weird. I don't like it. I do want to do 6 Segway tricks though. Can I have like Tony Hawk Segway Skater?
Oh, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 dropped, by the way. I played them the other day. They're fun. The remakes are fun.
Yeah, they're not bad games. I saw some people doing sponsored content for it. It looked pretty good. Yeah, and sorry, chat. I did drop the ball on that. Yeah, Zaibatsu is a megacorp. It's a kind of megacorp that expands into many different arenas. Probably the closest analog that you're gonna get is Sony or Toshiba.
Well, and technically though, just to be clear,
they're not there, but they're in that direction.
Well, and also a Zaibatsu specifically, let me see if I can pull this up, because there's actually something we have coming up on Extra History, spoiler alerts, that kind of talks a little bit about this, and I just want to pull up the script to make sure I'm not talking out my rear end.
Yeah, by and large from Wally. That's another really good one.
There's another so it's not like a Zaibatsu specifically is a specific family owns the entire like one group, specifically a family owns the entirety of the
right, it's a vertical integration from a singular family.
The bank that funds it all the way down to the stores that sell it.
Yeah.
But there's a different word that I'm digging for right now. That because the Zaibatsu kind of collapsed, and then I'm gonna butcher this word. It is kiritsu, which is essentially the same thing but without the single family control.
Okay. Yeah, Amazon is close. Yeah, Amazon is very close.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, big layoffs at King. They're replacing workers with AI. If you're playing Candy Crush, why? Maybe don't.
Hey, well, listen. I mean, I think from a moral standpoint, sure, you could easily take that stance. But the look, people that don't watch this show, people that are very casual and sort of play their online game, like I'll take my dad. My dad doesn't know the thing about this stuff. I'll tell him when I go visit him this summer. Yeah. But like, there's a lot of people that don't like even realize this, which is why we do shows talking about realizing this. Yeah, this sucks. This sucks. King sucks for doing it. At what, you know what I always wonder? So they're doing this. They just got rid of people designing levels and testing levels and all that stuff. Okay, so is the goal, like, the end goal, just to be like one person, like, getting the money, and then everything is automated around, like, because you can't just like the myth of infinite growth. The infinite growth is a myth, but the greed to get there is not. So like, you know that like it's just going to keep culling, right? So like, is that does everyone at the top brass of one of these companies think like it's gonna be me, or is there an actual like this is enough off ramp? Probably, right? Like,
who is to say, Matt? I don't know. I can't think that way. My first thought is if you have that much money, build a longer table, not a higher wall. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
man. Like
exactly.
I'm in the wrong socioeconomic demographic. I'm in the wrong political leaning. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And Obsai, we are doing a Summer Friday edition. Welcome on it.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, in news that's more neutral, less bad, definitely less bad. I think good. They've announced the cast for the live action Zelda movie. It's not these people. It's not. No.
It's Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox.
It's not. Dear God.
They're in it.
No,
they're in it now.
No, stop.
Don't look it up or fact check me. That's what happened. Nintendo saw their cosplay a couple years ago for Halloween, and they're like, "Get me these two."
That's not it.
I believe Miyamoto said something along the lines of, "We cannot wait to score the entire film with not only their acting but also their music." I think that's a direct quote. Yeah.
Or it's these.
No, it's these people.
Yeah, it's these people. I actually think this is gonna be good. I think this is gonna be good. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Well, okay, so I am not. I think these two are cast. I know nothing about them. I've seen the two actors are Benjamin Evan Ainsworth and Bo Bragston, I believe. And Bo is Zelda, and Benjamin is Link. Now, I have not seen a thing these two are in. I can say from this picture that they look like the parts. I think that's great. If I'm trying to look at who's actually building this movie, that's sort of the interesting bit to me. So the film is to be directed by Wes Bell, who previously was the director of the Maze Runner movies. I have not seen the Maze Runner movies, but they always felt to me like a B-side Hunger Games. That doesn't mean they're bad. I never got to them. Has anyone seen the Maze Runner films?
I've seen one of them, which is weird. I think this might be a first. Chat, note the date and time. I have seen a film, which Matt has not. Matt's knowledge of film is encyclopedic, and mine is trash. I'm like a little trash raccoon digging around in a dumpster behind a Blockbuster for something to watch. It's not bad. I would also push back that it's B-side Hunger Games. I think one of the problems is that Hunger Games is the exemplar of a genre in the same way that like a lot of other Hunger Games was just the biggest of the youth dystopian rise up against the fascist government training montage thing that like everybody got for like 5 years and then promptly forgot about as soon as they got an opportunity to put it into practice. Whoops, did I say that part out loud? And it didn't feel bad. It did feel very different. And I don't know. I think.
Oh, also the Wes Bell also did Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, if you liked those movies.
Sure.
Miyamoto is producing alongside of Avi Arad, which can mean good or bad things. I
don't know. I think it's I remain cautiously optimistic. This is the first time since live action Mario Bros. That they're doing a live action Nintendo project, and so I feel like in comparison to live action Mario Bros, it'll be a stunning triumph by not being live action Mario Bros.
But here's the thing.
It's not
all live action Mario Bros needed was 30 years of hindsight or whatever. Like,
right, yeah.
If you watch it now, it's kind of hard not to like it. Like, I remember not liking it when I saw it in the theater when it came out, because it was nothing. I was a child, and it was nothing like I remember the games. But you watch it now as an adult, especially when next to the new Super Mario Brothers animated film, which again is fun. But that movie, the animated one, is so safe. And therefore, in my aged of hundreds upon thousands of years being alive at this point, is just not as interesting to me. Like, I'd rather you take a swing even if you stumble, because that is more interesting content for me personally.
Yep.
I would challenge anyone who has not seen the live action Super Mario Brothers movie since it came out, or at least like 10 years or something, throw it in again. I'm pretty sure you'll have a good time. Oh, you can borrow my copy.
Okay.
You think I don't have that on physical? Come on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Now 4K, we're still gonna hunt that down. I don't know if that exists.
All right. Yeah.
Look,
I also wonder what the plot's gonna be, right? Because there's like a huge variety of like weird, subtle nuances. The thing I'm desperately hoping for. This is my one big hope. Don't name a game. Don't name a game.
I don't think it will. I think it's just gonna be The Legend of Zelda, because then that opens up, like, even movie marketing wise.
Then you can do
name everything. Like the sequels can be The Wind Waker, or whatever other ones you want to. A Link to the Past. Like, there's all sorts of ways. Like, all of the sequels are already named.
Yeah.
It is very, very interesting that it's like so long since their live action. Like, the difference in these two films will be so striking.
Yeah. Yep. That's very true. Okay. Next up. Okay, so you remember how we were talking about big companies that are like a single family that controls the whole company and like everything about it, and how that's bad?
Who, real quick, before we start, would anyone like to get off? No. What is this picture? Obviously, it's the Ubisoft logo.
I know what this is.
I know, but do people know where this image is from? The three hands touching, and what you're not seeing behind the Ubisoft logo is there's three rings that are touching. I just want to know if people in chat, do you call it out? You got another like 10 seconds or so of me vamping.
Is it some kind of Captain Planet thing? No.
It is not a Captain Planet
Wish,
thing.
no. Illuminati, no. Green Lantern, no. I'm gonna tell him. Yeah,
tell him.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings. It
is not Lord of the Rings.
Isn't this three? This is.
It is not Lord of the Rings. This is a Please Don't Destroy skit on. I think that's what their band, their like group is called, or Please Not Destroy. I can't remember the new ones that took over for Lonely Island on SNL. They did a skit about Nepo babies, because I think two of them out of the three are Nepo babies with Dakota Johnson.
Okay.
And they all like had like that nepo-truce, and they put their rings together and they chant "a foot in the door" and so much more. And it is delightful. So the hand on the right is Dakota Johnson's. The other two are the comedians in that group.
Okay.
I love it so much.
It looks straight up like the three Elven Rings, but that's probably what they're homaging.
Maybe.
I can't find the shot easily.
I just loved the chant of all three of them saying "a foot in the door" and so much more.
Yeah.
Nepo-truce, nepo-truce.
So, in this case, it is that the CEO of Ubisoft made his son the new co-CEO of Ubisoft. That's it. That's the whole story.
Sure. I mean, look,
just don't.
Every company, not every company, a lot of companies do this. In fact, I would argue that this is the least offensive thing Ubisoft has done a little bit.
Right, but that bar is in hell.
I'm not familiar. Is it Charlie? Is his name Charlie? Why am I thinking it's Charlie? Oh, it is. I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, great. Charlie's in now. That's cool. He's been working there for a while. He did leave to work at an AI company for a little bit to cut his teeth, I believe.
You're selling this real well, Matt. Just, huh?
Sure. You can blame him for that. I want to make sure. I have to review again, this article comes to us from Kotaku. I want to make sure I'm getting that right. Let's see.
He went in 2021 to work for the AI and Web3 game company Unagi. Returned earlier this year as the Tencent deal took shape. Yes.
Yeah. And look, he basically he did have a quote that He told Variety this. Charlie says, I completely understand where it comes from, and I want to be clear about it. Yes, I am Yev's son. That's not something I hide from, but my appointment isn't only about family ties. It's about what Ubisoft needs at the moment. I've spent the last decade building experience both in and outside of Ubisoft, leading teams, managing brands, and navigating changing in a fast-moving industry. I also made the conscious choice to step away when it made sense to learn and grow elsewhere. Now, that is a fine statement. I have no qualm with that. Hot take. I don't have a problem. Let me back it up. I have less of a problem with Nepo babies in positions if they do a really good job.
Sure.
There's problematic elements. More people should get shots, but the way that people have that nepotism has affected the course of human history is vast and will not change.
Sure.
My problems more arise when people are like, well, I didn't get this because of my dad. It's like, well, you did. Now, what are you going to do with it? Right. Like, and I think we're actually in a bit of a nepossance right now where actors like Dakota Johnson and who plays Huey on The Boys? Is he Melanie Griffith's kid? Like a lot of, he's in Companions.
I just like a nepossance.
The nepossance. No, because like they're like, yeah, I had a way easier time. I hope I'm making the best of it. Like, and that's fine. It's not the Nepo baby's fault, right? So like they have a leg up, right? That is not their fault. But what is their fault is if they waste that or burn it or just lean on it. And there's many that there's many that do all those things and it's bad, and there's some that don't. And I think just admitting too that like, yeah, I got this because of X, but by God, I'm going to do the best I possibly can because this is a fantastic opportunity. Right. Like, Miss Inkwich with another zinger as per usual. Don't put Nepo baby in the corner, right? I just don't, I know a lot of people have more problems with it than I do.
Yeah.
But, and by far, it's just, if they suck, it's just another thing to roast them for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
are we ready to talk
go check out that skit with Dakota Johnson. Also, I love Dakota Johnson. Can I just say that? I've determined that I think she's one of my favorite actors now. And not because I think she can act well. She has fallen into what I would consider a Venn diagram that previously has only consisted of Jeff Goldblum. And that is essentially that when you see them in a movie, you don't expect them to act well. You expect to see them like the embodiment of whatever their personal, their like forward-facing personality is in whatever role.
Yeah.
And sometimes it grinds against it, and it's still fun.
And
like,
sometimes when they align, it's great. Like Jeff Goldblum in Chaos.
Sure. Jeff Goldblum, I think in Wicked is really good.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's still Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know. And Dakota Johnson, I just saw Materialists. And I think that movie really works because it's just Dakota Johnson. Like, I don't know. If you haven't seen Materialists and you're interested in something, it's a lot more complex than you'd see that will she, won't she with Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal. But it feels more than that. So yeah. I don't know. Sorry. It just got out of a tangent. I feel like Dakota Johnson gets a bad rap. She was also great on Hot Ones. There we go.
Okay. We're
Nick Cage. Another great one. Yeah.
We have sort of a weird time thing. I think we're going to do our ad break now so we don't get interrupted in the middle of our main course. Does that sound good? All right. Yeah. Twitch chat, you're going to get some ads real quick. And then we'll do our fake ads for things you can't buy while you get ads for things you can buy, and then we'll do our main story on the thing everyone's talking about this week because they should.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can do that.
That's not an answer. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I thought you were asking if I wanted to go first. Sure, I can go first.
All right, here we go.
Hi everyone, Will here. Here to sell you on the idea of wearing sunscreen. That's right. I'm not going to sell you a particular sunscreen. I'm just going to give you the idea of wearing sunscreen. Because while we joke about it, I light on fire in the sun. I got a burn while sitting in the shade wearing sunscreen. I am bioluminescently pale. Please, please this summer, please wear sunscreen. I got burns that lasted for 6 months on my arms. I'm not kidding. Wear your sunscreen. We joke. Yeah, no, for real. It was awful. Please wear sunscreen this summer. Please do that. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wearing a short sleeve shirt and I got burned right below the cuff. And there was like a dark triangle like on my arm for like 6 months after. They're finally gone this summer, but I am staying inside and away from the Daystar because it hates me because it's a deadly laser.
I mean, yeah.
The sun is a deadly laser.
I'm no scientist. As a summer scientist, do I have my scientist glasses? Oh no, they're not here. They could be. Here they are. Hold on.
You can. Yep. All right. They're getting layered. Yep.
As a summer scientist,
how does that make the
weird.
glare better?
Whoa.
That's so.
I'm an eyeball ghost. Hey everyone, Matt from Extra Credits here. Did you just invent a really cool term like eyeball ghost? Well, that's great because you can just use it now whenever you want. Sure, we were talking about Zaibatsus and Nepo babies. We all kind of know what those things are. Actually, someone in chat did ask what a Nepo baby was. A Nepo baby is basically someone who advances in their career due to nepotism, which is the fact that they are the son or daughter or child of a parent that is good and famous and or lucrative in that field. Regardless, an eyeball ghost, I don't even know what that is. You can make it your own thing. In fact, in chat, tell me right now what you think an eyeball ghost is, and that way you don't even have to buy it because you can't, because it's a real fake thing.
Sure. I smelled toast for part of that. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, huh?
Summertime.
Huh? And the living's easy.
I like mostly hostile. We could just invent words.
Yeah. We can in fact do that. We do that all the time.
Bull, I was, where did you go? What? Too many things. We were not selling Nepo babies. I was mentioning there were words that we had said before that were interesting.
That were like the words Nepo babies. All right. I managed to attend to a community management thing, and we're done with our ads. So, time for extra Zyboxes.
It's just Zoe's lineage.
That's right. Totally. Okay. All right, chat. Everybody buckle up.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's...
Complexities. You know, I'm glad we're dressed for this. This feels really...
This feels, oh, man, just the best. All right. Everybody take a deep breath and scream. All right, great. Now that you've got that out of your system...
Actually, let me scream like the payment processors would want me to. Piece of no... with... another... poop.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, okay. All right, okay. Okay. So.
Sorry, I'm back.
No, it's it's fine. So, okay. So there are two platforms that this occurred to, and we're dealing with them kind of in the same way because the same group's responsible, but we're also going to deal with them differently because their response was different. So
let's tell the people what the story is.
Yeah. So the story is that Steam and itch.io this week have both begun delisting and removing from their site material that ranges from merely being overtly queer to being sexual or, in some people's opinion, pornographic.
Wait, say that again. I would say the range goes a little farther than that.
Sure. So. Well, yes. And then there's also the super, there is definitely like a deep end where this gets a little dark webby about like the dark corners of Steam and some of the bad stuff in the dark corners of Steam. they were prompted to do this not directly through any group petitioning them, but from a mandate from the payment processors Visa and MasterCard.
Through urgings from a outside group that has tried to do things with this before.
Correct. So this is not the first time this has happened, but it is one of the bigger times it's happened in a space that's previously been relatively free from that. This sort of thing has happened several times in the past 5 years or so to many different sites that allow people to earn money from selling their own content. And it's happened a lot to sex workers in the past. That's generally been the targeted group of like sort of this payment processor censorship model. You may recall stories about Patreon, OnlyFans, trying to think if there was another one. I think Substack got it too. There's a couple of others that have had like the ability to monetize your own work. And then people went, cool, great. I'm going to use this platform to do sex work. And the payment processors went, no, we don't like that. You can't do it. And the platform was like, well, we can't get any money out of anyone if we don't ban these people because the payment processor, the people that give us the money, say we can't do that. And this time it's coming to Steam and itch. The group in question that's petitioned Visa and MasterCard to do this is an Australian group called Collective Shout. The feelings that I have about this group of people are unprintable. And we'll leave it at that because I can't find any good words for this collective of individuals who have perpetrated this against the industry and against art.
This story comes to us from a bunch of different places, one of them PC Gamer, and they sort of list the efforts, both successful and not successful, that Collective Shout has had. They had an unsuccessful effort to ban Snoop Dogg and Eminem from Australia. They had a successful campaign to prevent Tyler, the Creator, from touring in Australia. They had a successful 2015 campaign to pressure Target and Kmart to stop selling Grand Theft Auto 5 in Australia. A petition to ban the game No Mercy from sale, which ultimately led to developers pulling it from Steam. And then an unsuccessful petition to ban Detroit Become Human from sales in Australia. But then on, I believe, July 7th, they shared an update to its NoMercyChange.org campaign, calling for the supporters to email payment processors, including PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and Discover, to determine to demand that they cut ties with Steam and itch over hundreds of very, very rough words I will not say on this stream games. Then the Collective Shout did a immediate cease processing. Now, we'll talk. I think the second half of the story is like how Steam and how itch responded.
That's correct.
But talking about this first, I think that the tie that Will made is very, very apt, because it's another way that like we have seen the negative effect in the real world before of this kind of thing. Now, was there content on Steam and itch that sure, in my opinion, like, was some of it abhorrent? Yeah. But I would rather, I think the thing that gets to, like, this is a slope that has made all slopes slippery, in the sense that what I want is companies that I engage with, Steam, itch, etc., digital purveyors of goods, to essentially, based on their users and also following whatever the line of the law is, to police their own backyards, essentially. And when you don't do that, weeds creep in. Sure. What happens here with nightmare groups like Collective Shout is they use these one or two weeds to then promote an agenda that damages a ton of I don't even know how to put it, a ton of different human experiences that they might not agree with for whatever weird reason.
Right. So historically speaking, and this has happened in a lot of places, and I know for a large portion of our audience, I'm preaching to the choir, but for those who are unaware, the end result of doing these morality sweeps, right? Like, oh, that's not moral, that's not ethical, I don't want my kids seeing that, is almost always removing sex work and queer stuff. Almost always. That's the end goal, and they just sort of walk it in, and they're like, well, surely you wouldn't have a problem with removing this objectionable material or this objectionable material, and now we're just removing queer people. And that tends to be the direction that they go.
It's because well, this isn't even legislation. This is just a broad-reaching thing in this case. But oftentimes when stuff like that happens, it's prepped so broadly and it's handled so reactionarily that it leaves it open for the bad actors who most likely started it in the first place, even if they did an iota of good in their terrible actions pool, that then they can move forward whatever agenda that they have. And to do that with a payment processor, it's funny, on the PC Gamer article, Collective Shout later wrote that 1,067 individuals called in email payment processors. If it only took that many, that's insane. But also, to be very clear, Collective Shout was using incredibly incendiary language and cherry picking and trying to get something broad and sweeping done under the guises of some sort of moral high ground. It is more complex than that. I do stand by the fact that I do want companies that I buy things from to be the arbiters of what they sell. I don't want because here's the other thing. I was talking to Will about this before we started. I don't know Gabe. I don't know Steam. I know the feeling I get in the general zeitgeist of the Steam community and how it sort of functions. And when we're talking about big rich corporations, oftentimes even on this show, we're like, well, Steam's kind of one of the good ones because of X, Y, and Z, and it's not publicly traded, all of the things, right? Whether or not my vibes check is correct, I can still look at my morality and my ethics and what I perceive to be Steam's morality and Steam's ethics and choose to do business with them. I don't know what the hell, well, I know what MasterCards is, I guess, and that is to make as much money as possible off of interest. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that goal or a third party that is in no way paramount to the experience I am paying for should get to dictate what I can and cannot buy.
Right.
And if you do let things do that, that is where the slippery slope lies, and it goes from getting one or two bad actors off of a thing and turning it into basically trying to silence an entire group of people. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. So the big problem here is that, it was way too easy for them to do this. And in related news, Visa and MasterCard call centers are having a bad day. They're having a very bad day. Because you know what a lot of gamers do, chat? They work from home. A lot of gamers work from home, which means that they can do their job in IT or remote support or any marketing or any number of things. They could be answering emails and on Microsoft Teams, doing all that while they're waiting on hold to talk to a customer service representative at Visa or MasterCard. And they both had very bad days yesterday. They had very bad days yesterday. And they're probably going to have very bad days today. And they're probably going to have very bad days all weekend. All next week until something changes. Because
what does suck is, and again, it's one of those it's set up to be this way for a reason. The customer service representatives that are getting flooded have no control over any of this.
Sure.
What has to happen is a polite yet consistent flooding of their systems so that actual like business cannot be done while
Correct.
also not mentally harming the people on the other end of the phone. And that is tricky.
Correct. No, absolutely. The goal here, yes, that is a very good reminder. The goal here is to tie up their systems. Be nice. Say, hey, I want to lodge a complaint about an action that your company undertook as a payment processor. I know you don't have anything to do that, but I'd like to register my complaint. And they're going to try and they've already been trying to put people off onto emails. Politely refuse. And because, well, and then also email them afterwards, by the way, because that one's free.
There's also another thing too, and there's recordings of all this, so as long as you're polite, it's totally fine.
Yep.
You know when you're on the phone with a customer service representative and they say, is there anything else I can do to help you today? You always, if you're trying to stay on the line and jam it, you say yes, and then you say another thing or a different version of the thing, again, in a very polite fashion. The goal is to not frustrate the person you are on the phone with, but make it so that other business cannot be done because you are on the line doing business. Again, I cannot stress enough, do not get angry at customer service workers in this situation.
Correct. The goal,
incredible politeness.
Yeah, the goal is
also
to
try to be as
yeah.
witty and funny as you can so they don't mind. Like, you know, these people have to do this job and they are put on the front lines of a nightmare. And I cannot stand it when people are mean to customer service folks.
Absolutely. That's a really great point, Matt. So, but the companies are having a hard time doing business because it seems like all of a sudden, all of their phone lines are ringing off the hook. Oh, that's weird. Interesting. Anyway, so that's a big thing, right? That a lot of people have immediately mobilized to do this. Now, we should probably explain in case anyone has missed this bit, because I think this is really important.
Yeah.
Why Steam and Itch both had to immediately cave to this?
Sure. Real quick, before we get, because that's a long point, Ramian brings up a really good point. Minor point of contention, that is still potentially frustrating for the customer service rep because they may have metrics based on call length. They do. But if enough people do it, it's going to bring down the entirety of it.
Yeah, right.
Like it's going to bring, it's not just going to be 3 or 4 customer service reps that actually get the ding. It's going to be the entire floor, and they definitely grade on a curve at that point.
Yeah.
Like, so it sucks because you don't know, like, you can only assume that many people are doing it, in my opinion. Again,
if Mabluski is any indication, a bunch of people are doing it. Yeah.
Or you could, as Grass says, you know, if you're feeling like that's going to cause that individual stress or harm, call again and get a new one.
Yep. So,
yeah, Mage League, perfect thing. One person's metric hurts that person. The entire division's metric falling hits the manager.
Correct. Okay, so we should probably explain why this is, like, why they can do this, right? So, almost all, not all, but an overwhelming majority of the money that flows into Itch and Steam flows through these payment processors. And the threat that lingers over them is essentially, if you don't do this, we will stop paying you at all.
Right. We will not process your transactions, which is basically shooting a digital vendor in their digital throat.
Correct. So the problem here, and I think this goes to the, like, don't be mean to customer service reps thing, is that an awful lot of people are upset at the companies. And I feel like that is understandable and off base. Right?
It is and it isn't.
Right. So
like there's two things. One, there's no point in getting truly rageful at Steam or Itch right now. There is definitely cause in hindsight, and there is definitely, once they are through this nonsense, there is definitely some discussion to be had about how to ensure that they don't bend to these sort of things, and that does start with cleaning up your own yard.
Yeah, for sure. The problem here is that so if Visa goes to Steam and says, you need to take these specific items out of your storefront or we'll stop processing transactions for all of Steam. I guess the question is, do people want Steam to stand on business and say, cool, I guess we're not doing business with you? And I get a lot of sense that a lot of people's gut reaction is, yes, I want Steam to do that. I want Steam to stare down Visa or MasterCard. The problem that I think those people fail to understand is very similar to the way that I think a lot of people fail to understand the role of publishers in the gaming industry, which is you have no idea the orders of magnitude that differ between those two entities in terms of financial power.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, Visa can live without Steam. Steam can't live without Visa.
Yeah, Visa does not care.
Visa doesn't care at all. Visa processes, I would say, the majority of the financial
Visa,
transactions that represent the GDP of the United States. They do not care about Steam. Right? But Steam, if they were like, you can't pay with a Visa card anymore, how many of you have a card that isn't a Visa card? And remember, your PayPal doesn't count because your PayPal is paying through a Visa card.
Visa and MasterCard were the two that came back and actually did it right. PayPal and Discover did not.
I believe that is correct.
I want to dig into that. It's funny because, okay, let's, again, take morality and ethics out of it for a second. There's an interesting game that could be played with processing companies here. Like, it's basically a game of chicken. Because if 4 out of the 5 major processing companies say no, and then one is like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, there is a way that, because while Visa and MasterCard would not blink losing Steam's business, you know what they don't want? They don't want Discover to have Steam's business. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's sort of that to be put into play here. Again, that's more of a erasing the actual human cost of it, which I don't like doing, but I just sort of had that thought.
Yeah. Yeah, and Pixie's completely correct. The EU has many more alternatives, but Steam can't run on EU sales alone. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Right? And that remains a huge part of the problem. It's this weird... This is sort of... It's not a revelation to anyone. Everyone kind of knows that this is an underlying problem, that a very small number of companies that shouldn't have anything to do with the content, right? You are there to move money around. That's it. You're not really supposed to care about why the money's moving around. Your job, we pay you an outrageous amount of money to move money from point A to point B and facilitate transactions, and you get a cut of it. Shut up and take the money. Right, but instead they're acting in this capacity as a censor, right? And the big problem is that we knew this was a problem. Like, lots of people, knew this was a problem, right? This just is bringing it to the forefront in a way that reminds us that it's a problem in the midst of all of the other problems that we're experiencing in the middle of the summer of 2025. There's a few of those. Right?
It's what happens when, and we're seeing a lot of this too, when like a side of politics infects something that should not be partisan, or it should not have a bend on, like, it's funny, capitalism should, if it works as people that love it say, basically regulate itself in that regard with the consumer and the seller. It shouldn't need this third weird person hanging out guard railing it. Right. There's a lot of arguments that I feel like groups like Collective Shout and a couple others kind of tout that does fall apart the second you kind of look at essentially their ideas around other things.
I like it. It's good. Just fold up some
Fly the dollar
dollars.
bills?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just throw paper airplane dollars at Gabe. It's fine.
Yeah. It's and I wish credit card, like, I think if I could speak to the payment processors for a second, I know they're watching. They love Summer Friday. That's right. I think they invented Summer Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say, don't you want like all the money? And don't you want to not be responsible for being the arbiter? Because if you're less responsible for arbitration of what is exactly being processed outside of the letter of the law, you're probably going to make more money. There are other bodies, there are the sellers, there are laws, and there are things in place that need to work, I think, better. But Visa, MasterCard, you are not Judge Dredd. You are not the law. And acting like it continually, I think, if we watch this predicated again and again, it's not like it's going to end you, because of course it's not. You're too big to fail until something catastrophic. But it's not going to make you the most money. And that's what you want.
Hey, Matt. Attention, peach trees. I am the loan.
If they, how do we tie it in? So, okay. So Dakota Johnson is in charge of a corporation,
right.
And owning all of the source of mining and then production and then all of the things to build peach trees, and then eventually becomes judge, jury, and executioner. I think we've tied everything together.
Yeah.
Oh, and Charlie's there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah. And then there's sort of this weird other bit to this story, which is that lots of people are afraid to cover it. That's one point. Vice had a story on this. They were one of the people that broke it, actually. A journalist did some really great investigation and broke the story and named Collective Shout and was like, this is why this is happening. And then Vice pulled it down. And then told the Wayback Archive to take it off of the Internet Archive, because people,
you're in the right when you're yelling at the Wayback Machine to remove content.
Because there's ever been like a Now, if it were untrue, I could understand that they would want to like maybe print a correction and a retraction. And
also, Collective Shout announced it.
Correct. But the problem is, Matt, that Vice, again, the website's name is Vice, thought that it was questionable subject matter for them to be reporting on.
Well, let's not look.
Rank cowardice. Rank cowardice is how I'm calling it. I'm calling it like I sees it. That's cowardice. Right? Like there is this problem where one of the reasons that this kind of puritanical morality policing works is that there is a chunk of the population that's afraid to talk about sex, or afraid to talk about sex work, or afraid to talk about people expressing themselves in ways that are different than the ways that you might express yourself through art, or using art to deal with traumatic experiences, right? The whole reason the Collective Shout, by the way, went after Detroit Become Human is that they were like, this shows abuse against women and children. And it's true that it does, but it's a thing that is designed to be a key part of the story that the game is telling, right? The art depends on talking about these subjects that the art is about. Right? You can't
not talking about subjects like that doesn't make the subjects go away. In fact, some might argue that not talking about the subjects actually makes them happen more, just not talked about. Right. Again, that's a broad generalization, of course. But at the end of the day, it's simpler than that. It really is. And it's so frustrating that people don't kind of see it whenever they're trying to thought police folks. And that is essentially that, okay, I don't like A. Hey, everyone, call this to make sure that A doesn't happen. Well, at this particular day, at this particular time, A is something that you don't like and you think people shouldn't engage with. But if you set the precedent of anything can be shouted down for whatever, what if you're really into D? And then that all of a sudden is the soup du jour of being taken. Like, you are building, you are the, it's not the same, but I was going to link it back. You are the employees at King that are building their own AI to take themselves down.
Correct.
There's different ethics and methodologies between these two examples, but the end result is the same. You are building the machine that will take you.
Correct.
And it's crazy that people don't see that.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway.
So there is one more facet to the story which we should address, which is how these platforms handled it. And in my humble opinion, I think that Steam handled it better than Itch did, though that is also understandable because Itch has less practice with this and is also a smaller team, is a smaller, more indie team. Steam started telling people that their games are being taken down and like explained what was going on. Itch took about 24 hours, as best I can tell, between when games started getting shadow banned, delisted from search results, and flagged as inappropriate before they actually explained what was happening.
Itch is really small, though, right? I mean,
Itch is really small, but they've also been a haven for a lot of queer artists, furry artists. They host a lot of VNs. They host a lot of stuff that's specifically not on Steam because it doesn't comply with some of the Steam's more niche regulations about what's on the platform, right? They have been a place for queer art for a really long time. And the problem isn't that they took it down to comply with the payment processor directly. The problem is that they took stuff down before they explained what was going on and still haven't been fully transparent with artists whose work is affected, and just kind of said, yeah, we can't, like, this is where we're at, right? They're not doing a great job on the communication aspect of this, which I think is absolutely paramount doing like this kind of thing. Right? The number one most important thing about this is be transparent with what's getting pulled, why it's getting pulled, and like pointing all of it back at the payment processor, being like, okay, this game is being pulled because it contains this material, which this payment processor says that we can't host, right? There is a kind of malicious compliance in this, right? Which is...
It's hard to do on scale.
It is very... I am not saying it's easy.
The issue is the rate of games is probably only rivaled by the rate of like videos uploaded to YouTube, right? Yes. Like the floodgate is open. The system is designed to host as much stuff as possible, and monitoring and policing that level of thing with any like at all is insane. You add any level of nuance to that, you can't do it in real time, especially if you're cleaning up like months or years of stuff.
Yeah. Which
you could make a general statement.
Yeah.
You could, for instance, do like, I'm trying to think of like the practical way, say Steam could add a tag or a thing, right? Where it's like, if they search for a thing, this game was delisted due to our payment processor choosing, saying that you should not be able to be bought. Now, here's the thing. Malicious compliance, maybe that would still make Visa and MasterCard just stop using Steam. Like,
right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like there is some amount of David v. Goliath, right? When this happens, right, I am forcibly reminded every time we talk about stuff like this of librarians. So.
The show?
No, the profession. So, this is an old trick from librarians, and it is a thing that happened an awful lot in the days of the Patriot Act. Some of you are too young to remember a world without the Patriot Act. Anyway, that's kind of a horrifying thought, and I just turned to dust a little bit on the inside. Anyway, so many libraries implemented a new position called the Patriot Act compliance officer, and it was a title that nobody could have because the title always went to the person who most recently left. Right? There is a kind of malicious compliance in the, yeah, sure, we'll totally do that. We'll get right on that we're working as best we can on that thing, right? And I don't know how much that holds water for Visa and MasterCard, right? I don't know what their expected turnaround time is. I don't know, like, the degree to which they are going to let people just sand in the gears here, but I do feel like there is a world where at a bare minimum the transparency and thoroughness that are needed for that kind of move, to remove that amount of content, to remove any content at a third party's behest, is a thing that should be taken seriously, right? I want them to take the time to do that properly, which is a little longer than maybe Steam and than Visa and MasterCard would like, but like I really think that that's important, right? That like having full transparency, even at the cost of it being slow, and even at the cost of Visa and MasterCard getting pissed off, is super important here, because Itch, by not doing that, torpedoed their goodwill. There are a bunch of people who were really pissed at Itch and completely missed the fact that they were essentially over a barrel because these payment processors were making these demands. And Itch is so much smaller than Steam. Yeah. Itch is like a single-digit percentage compared to Steam, I would say.
I think people need to realize that, and realize that like getting angry in there's triage and then there's medical care.
Correct.
Right? Like save the life, then get mad. Like I'm crossing a lot of different, metaphors, examples here, but like now is not the time to be angry at and upset at how Itch handled it or how Steam handled it, even if they handled it subparly. Make sure they exist tomorrow, and then work around and then make your voice heard as to why you are unhappy.
Right. My unhappiness is contingent on them existing for me to be unhappy at, and is purely in their communication. Right. Yeah. I understand why they had to take it down, because again, Visa and MasterCard underpin the world's current modern economy.
Yeah.
Right. And Steam and Itch, though they are important to us, again, are so niche as to not register for the most part on the global news scale. They just don't. So,
well, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Again, payment processors should not be the arbiter of what people can buy. There's a moral issue there, there's an ethical issue there, and there's a capitalist issue there. Right. Like all of them line up.
Yeah. And they all say this is bad and stupid.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. So here's hoping. You'll also note that we weren't like, yeah, you all should go out and get a different payment processor. That's been a rallying cry that I've seen some people. They're like, we need to form our own payment processor, or we need to go to crypto, or we need to... No. Like, I mean, you can certainly go that route if you want.
I don't think... I don't nat 20s on that check there.
Yeah, I don't think that Steam or Itch is going to start accepting crypto. I don't think that, like, a lot of things... I think the big problem is that, much like the original idea of crypto, in order to make it do the thing that you want it to do, it becomes vulnerable to exactly the thing that you went to the new system to try and avoid.
Also, if the masses are getting mad at the companies that have to kowtow to a thing that could literally destroy their entire business, I think dealing with the devil you know in the general short term is probably the better move. Unless you want to find all new problems elsewhere. Again, that's not to say that, like, there isn't a better way. Of course there is. How complicated that better way is, that's, the answer is very.
Correct. Yeah, some people are talking about Discover. We've seen that come up a couple of times. I don't know if it got brought up. Visa and MasterCard also are in charge of the infrastructure that conveys the payment processing data to Discover. it's kind of a carrier issue as much as it is like the company. Like, even if you don't have a Visa, there's a reasonable chance that Visa is the one facilitating your transaction. So they still have gatekeeper control, right? Again, it's more complicated, right? But we're not finance bros. Though I could understand how you might make that mistake given our attire and choice of venue.
Because it's Summer Friday.
On Summer Friday, right? Yeah. I like this one. You know what, Polka? I like your moxie. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to tie a bag of cash to a carrier pigeon, and I'm going to send it off to Redmond, Washington. It'll be great. So.
Well, I feel like we've done a lot of judgment, Will. We've been very judgy.
I feel like we've done a lot of judgment. We have tried the payment processors. We have weighed them. We have measured them, and we have found them wanting. And
I guess one might say that we have been sort of standing on our beachfront rooftop screaming, "I am the law."
That's right.
This is our dessert story.
Yeah. I'm so excited, Matt. This might be one of the best director IP pairings I've seen in a hot second. I'm really excited.
So Taika Waititi's been tasked reportedly to direct the new Judge Dredd movie. Will, I am happy you are happy.
Yeah. You're a little more worried?
There have been 2 Judge Dredd movies. One with Sylvester Stallone and Rob Schneider. It's not great. It's kind of silly. It's a fun romp if you want to go back to that time in cinema action movie history. It's fine. Then there's Dredd, or Dredd 3D, depending on what gimmick you want to talk about, which is a definitively excellent film starring Carl Urban. I like lots of Taika's work. I haven't enjoyed the last few. But I gotta say, I don't want at least what his humor has been in the last movie or two in a Judge Dredd movie.
I feel that's fair.
It's not. I think it'll be made very well, and it probably will be funny. I don't know. I just don't.
I see. I got. So Judge Dredd, and there are some people in chat who aren't familiar, is a near future-ish cyberpunk brutalist sort of landscape.
The comics are, to put it lightly, dark.
Yeah, probably don't. Just, if you're not sure, watch the Carl Urban movie instead.
It's excellent.
It really is.
It's like, what if the Raid, but slightly worse? And it's still excellent.
Right. And the casting's great, and the cinematography is great, and the action sequences are great, and the character development is great, and like it's
80% of it takes place in one building. It's like a video game level.
Now, to be fair, that building makes Nakatomi Tower look like a kid's playground, but like, yes. So I have a good feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'll own it if I'm wrong. I
don't want you to be wrong. Will, I always want movies to be good.
Right. I just feel like there's this space where you cannot do anything with Dredd and play Dredd straight and have the world, like, in much the same way that The Mandalorian is interesting because The Mandalorian is a straight man character, and there are weird things that happen around him.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that we get like a played straight Dredd where like there are side characters and weirdness that happen around him, and some of it's like chuckle worthy, but like that Dredd gets to be Dredd and focus all the way through.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I think his 2 films that I would like the most borrowed from would either be Jojo Rabbit or Hunt for the Wilder People. Because those movies feel like they balance seriousness with a farcical world, right? And I think that's something that's good and maybe could work for Dredd, so you're kind of selling me on that. Another great example, honestly, right now, that is not out. Actually, I don't know if it's a great example. I saw the trailer for it today. It's the new Darren Aronofsky film with Austin Butler, Caught Stealing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see the trailer for it, but like it feels like, oh, this is the real world, and it's gritty and it's dangerous, but it's also wacky and weird. And I don't know. The movie could be great or terrible. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. The trailer makes it interesting. So.
I also think that there is sort of this horrifying part to, like, there's an additional horrifying layer to Dread, which I think it may be necessary to bring in Taika to like make this happen, which is, God, I hate this sentence. It is entirely reasonable to believe that for many audiences who see it, parts of the Dread universe will become too realistic. And that's horrifying.
Sure.
Right? But it may be necessary to kick it up or make it weirder in order to deliver the same amount of weirdness, right? Like the OG Cyberpunk stuff doesn't usually hit as hard as it did when it came out, not only because the times have changed, but because the distance between the thing that's being represented and the actuality of the present is smaller, right? We just talked about how a payment processor censored an entire art form because a bunch of people got big upset and in their feelings and called them a bunch. Right? Like that is a world that we live in, so it's a little hard to read like all of the cyberpunk dystopia at the level that I think it might need to in order for Dread to come across as the commentary that it is.
Right.
Yeah. Axelbeck is exactly right. When incomprehensible horrors become comprehensible. But that's my take on it. And you know, we'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad you're excited for it, Will. I would rather you be excited for it.
Yeah. If it sucks, we have a definitively good Dread that we could just go back to pointing at. It'll be great,
That's
right?
true.
Like
True.
There's no risk here, right?
I think I want to talk on Monday. This is already show's getting long on the tooth. I want to talk on Monday about the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer.
Yeah. I'll definitely put that in.
There are thoughts.
By the way, we normally don't have shows this close together. So if you're watching this and you're in the comments and you've seen anything that's happened this week and we didn't talk about it on this show, please do let us know in the comments. Genuinely, I will be looking at them when I do my final prep for this on Sunday night, Monday morning. So please let us know if there are any stories that we didn't get to that you were looking forward to us talking about. Again,
I'm trying to keep Will in my glasses reflection.
Yeah, that's great. How's that going? It's also very delayed because the reflection
I know.
is me coming to you and then back to me, so it's double delayed. So everything is like very. I
can't stay still that long. That was really fun.
Okay, great. That is going to do it for our Friday episode of Games for Breakfast. Thank you all so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for coming to the beach with us.
Yeah. We'll be back.
What's happening right now then, Will?
Right now, we're going to come back from the beach, I guess. Are we? I guess we're coming back from the beach.
Yeah, we very well. Oh, man. Okay.
We're coming back from the beach, and then we are going to be staying live here on Twitch, and we're going to be doing some Elden Ring Night Rain. So I think all that remains for us now, Matt, is for you to do our patented special edition Games for Breakfast sign-off, and then we'll go jump into some Elden Ring.
That's right. You would think that maybe because it is a summer Friday that the outro would be different. But it actually is the same as always, because as we try to say, we try to make it so everyone who watches can feel like they're a part of it, that they're a part of a larger oeuvre of the Games for Breakfast family, even when it does happen at brunch time. So for all of that, I just have to say, show your boss this clip. Right now, just do it. Your employee needs to go home. They're either sick or they have a sick party to go to. And so it's totally fine. Oh, give him a raise. I think that'd be good.